In over 3 decades, I've learned that truly great car dealerships are only great because of one thing: leadership. So I'm sitting down with the great men and women inspiring automotive on TimTalks, Automotive Leadership and Beyond. Welcome, everyone, to yet another edition of TimTalks, Leadership and Beyond. And look, I know it might get redundant, but I'm pretty fired up today. Actually, I'm really fired up today because there's some people I always talk about, we've talked about it in here multiple times, you know, what it's like to be on the other side of you, right? Asking real questions as far as leadership. Are you a jerk? But there's some people in your life that you run into and they make you happy, man. Their energy, the way they look at life, their work ethic, and it's a beautiful tapestry of all the above. This young man, I may say, because I am a few years older than him, can't tell that, but you know, that's a whole other day. This young man has been a dear friend for a very long time. He's one of the smartest people that I've ever met in my life. You know, we were just talking before the show about suits, and he is the educated version of Mike Ross. Truly one of the smartest human beings, a dealer principal, a dear friend, Mike Speigl. Mike, welcome to TimTalks, brother. I love you. So fired up to even roll up our sleeves and dive into some leadership talk and a little bit about your story too. Welcome, brother.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been called a tapestry before. So that's definitely a first for me. And it's a sign of endearment, definitely, when you call somebody you love a tapestry. So I'm just as fired up as you are. Thank you so much for having me on this. I feel like I've seen all my legends and idols on your talks before. So just feel honored to be a part of this and super excited to be here today. And happy Valentine's Day.
For a definition, a tapestry, if you're Googling it right now, is a beautiful woven garment. A beautiful woven, maybe you could call it a Afghan. It is taking a beautiful line of thread of generosity, leadership, work ethic, hence a beautiful tapestry. Mike Speigl. That's where I was going with that. I know you're educated at Michigan, so us Ohio State guys might need to help you out with that a little bit. But anyway, that's where I was going for you listeners that went to Michigan.
I'm not going to touch that one today because we're going to stay friends and this is going to be a positive podcast. But I will say congratulations to you guys on winning the national championship. Someday you'll have as many as us, not in our lifetime, but maybe someday.
Right. Awesome. Just a little background. Not only is Michael Speigl a dealer principal, he is actually a professor at Michigan. And obviously during November, we enjoy going back and forth in that the big game, right? The team up north and obviously the team down south. But let me just get right into it. A lot of people I've been asked through the years, look, every company goes up and down, but I think it's important for people to know, and I won't spend a ton of time on this, but how CarNow started. And Michael had a part in that, knowing or not knowing or everything. But when we started, I left the dealership, Hennessy Lexus, the last day of November in 2014. And I spent, most of you that know me, I'm like a hamster in a hamster wheel. I spent about 2 or 3 days in my an office that I created in my basement, and I was going absolutely crazy. So I took the software. If you do or do not know, we were the first company in any vertical to add rich content, you know, videos and all this other stuff. And this is about a car now, but that's just what was going on. So I reached out to a friend of mine that I've known since she was 16 years old, Holly Arona, and I showed her. Because I knew she was out of I worked with her at the Lexus store. I showed her the software and she's like, oh my gosh, I need to show my husband, Tony, who has been involved in a couple software companies. And he's like, well, I need to show my best friend, John Williams. And those of you probably know, those of you don't, John Williams is an incredible human being, was the president of Southeast Toyota. And the first thing after I showed him and Tony the software, he says, I've got a really, really smart young man running a couple of my stores, and he's my go-to with all things tech. And that was the one and only Mike Speigl. So I would argue Mike Speigl, other than a few local friends in Atlanta, was the first person to see the technology. And we took his feedback early on. And the rest is history. So thank you for that, Mike. Thank you for not shutting the door. Thank you for at least liking what you saw, but you've gone on to some incredible things. So in fact, that was the first time I got on a plane, which is a whole other story, and actually went to train a dealer group was your stores, you and Patrick Abad. You know, Patrick Abad, who's been on this show, was at the Toyota store then. So it's just really cool to see you blowing up and being an incredible dealer principal, an incredible human. And then Patrick Abad, you know, taking this Beaver Toyota, and now it's the largest dealership in Georgia. And it's just incredible to see your walk. So first of all, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, you mentioned Patrick. He's one of the best leaders and just a tremendous human being. And I'm sure he gave you way more input than I did that made it get to, how many dealers are you guys in now? Are you guys in 20 or 30 dealers?
Maybe 35 as of today, but no, God has blessed us. And we, I think as of today, I mean, I look at it not every day, but it's 5,128, I believe is the exact number as of this morning.
That's truly, truly amazing and speaks to the hard work that you guys have put into the product. But yeah, I was lucky to see it early on and happy to be your friend and lucky to be your friend. As you know, somebody someday should do a podcast with you on it so that we can talk about the tapestry that is Tim Cox in all of the different things that you bring to all of us and 5,100 other dealers. I thought I was special, you know, that we use you guys. I didn't know you were like that, where it's just everybody. Apparently everybody has your software. I really thought we had something special going.
No, there's almost 17,000 franchise dealers in the United States. So what is that? You know, hey, Mr. Michigan, what is that math? I don't even know. It's pretty close. You know, we got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of work to do, but
it's happening.
All is well. Brother, let's just dive right into it, because in all seriousness, like Patrick and others that have been on this show, ladies and gentlemen, we want to bring you the vetted, you know, the best of the best. We talk about it all the time. There's a lot of people that great people, but you know, they're on Facebook, they're all over the place, and that's okay. But talking about leadership, talking about culture, but you have, I don't want to say quietly, but you have just dominated every place you have been. I noticed the guiding principles. I don't think they're right on either side of you. I don't think there's any coincidence, because I knew there was something different when I walked into Tampa Honda, you know, a decade ago, and how you interacted with your team, how your team interacted with you. Let's just walk through a little bit of that, because again, we've said on this podcast so many times, success leaves clues. And, you know, maybe, you know, there's been some dealerships I've thought that have done really, really well, or I've seen do really, really well. And a lot of people take credit for it. And then, you know, they leave and it stays the same. And that's great on leadership. But there was other things that happen. But when you do it at one store, then you do it at another store, then you do it at another store, there's something to that. So let's talk about, you know, your leadership style, why the energy is so incredible the majority of the time. Obviously, people go through ups and downs, but your guiding principles that are on either side of you, one Subaru, or actually both Subaru right now, which is where you're at. Let's talk about that. What does that mean to you, and how do you implement that in the day-to-day in all four of your dealerships?
Yeah, to back it all the way up to the beginning of the journey, you know, graduated from University of Michigan over 20 years ago. Unfortunately, I am that old, Tim. We're probably the same age and we just don't know it. But, you know, started out at 22, never having been in the car business, don't have any family members in the car business, really didn't know what I was getting myself into. And so that journey as a 22-year-old all the way through today has been the result of so many people working hard at a common goal. And so, you know, that's why we call our organization We Auto. And we're really proud of the culture that we've created. It's not one person. It certainly isn't me. And there are a lot of people who every single day focus on trying to do the right thing and trying to live by our core values. So, you know, behind us, we have our We standards, which are the standards of employment. We have our guiding principles, but we don't have our core values and our mission statement. They're on the other side of the room. You know, maybe we'll do a tour of the room later, but our mission statement is we inspire people to grow, making our families, our team, and our community proud. And I think that says it all. When we really talk about why we're here, we're not selling cars, we're not servicing cars. We're here inspiring people to grow, making our family, our team, and our community proud. And I just want to point out a few ways that our team really makes that come to life. So that first aspect of we inspire people to grow. We have the We Auto University. And in the We Auto University, we teach everybody everything from life skills, personal finances, health and wellness, all the way to, how to appraise a car, how to close a customer in finance, and all kinds of other leadership attributes. Last year we did over 55 We Auto University classes that taught everything to every associate, from technicians to salespeople to porters to folks in accounting. We really feel like inspiring people to grow, and that mission of people development is the core of what we're doing here. And then when we talk about wanting to make our families, our team, and our community proud, we're a family-first organization. If ever any one of our associates are in any kind of trouble, the first thing comes out of our mouth is family first always. And that just speaks to why we're all here. It is a family-first organization, as so many auto retailers are. And I'd say that's something that's unique to us as well. We just really love the business, and we're advocates for everybody. We truly feel, and we've had a number of people come visit our organization, and we've gone and visited a number of awesome organizations. When we're out there spreading, what we do and inviting people in, the thing we often talk about is what an awesome industry this is and how lucky we are to be a part of it. There are so many, you mentioned Patrick, but there are so many other great, awesome dealers out there doing the right things that I would love. And I hope that my kids someday go work for them. I don't aspire for our kids. We have 5 kids, and it is our why, my why, but I don't want them to work for us. But I would love for them to get into the business, and I would love for them to work for so many other great dealers. So we want to make our families proud. And then we want to make our team proud. Our intern culture is driven by our team members, and we have so many awesome team members. I could give shout out to so many of them. But after family, it is our team. And then finally, it's our community. We want to be the organization, not just a car dealership, but an organization that our communities want to be in. So last year, just in our Ann Arbor campus, so we have 2 stores in Ann Arbor and 2 stores in Nashville. In Ann Arbor, we did over 1,000 hours of community service. We worked with over 20 different local organizations where we either donated our resources financially or our time with our members, but really partnered in a meaningful way with over 20 organizations here just in the Ann Arbor community. So, we inspire people to grow, making our families, our team, and our community proud. That says everything about what we're trying to create and our mission statement of why we're here.
I really don't have, if I had it, I don't know how to drive it home more, that nearly every single podcast we've done with it, and they haven't all been, you guys know, it hasn't been all dealer principles, has been a lot of dealer principles. There is something, and ladies and gentlemen, if you don't get this, I just, you guys in the back row, lean in a little bit. The dealers that we bring on here that are incredible leaders, incredible humans, they are creating environments. Whether we had Troy Duhan on, and the title of the podcast, the owner and founder of the Premier Auto Group, 40 dealerships, and his charity, Giving Hope, with feeding 1,000 people a day, with everything that ABAD's doing in his community with local law enforcement. And now, you hear it over and over again. When your people feel like they're not only going to work, they're going to work, and the work that they do helps other people in and around the community, it changes things. That's when culture starts to change, when they know that their organization, people want to be a part of something. We talk about it all the time. It's 2 of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership from Maxwell. It is probably the most important one, the law of attraction. We as human beings want to feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves. And so dealer principal, general manager, GSM, receptionist, you can make a difference, bringing something to the table, allowing, the car dealerships sometimes get a bad rap. And I would argue because a few make the many. It's like policemen and pastors and everything else. A few make everybody else, and the majority of them are incredible humans, look bad. But it's people like you, Michael, that are giving so much back to the community and therefore creating an environment that people want to come to, where it's no coincidence. Nobody talked about this. Nobody said, talk about your charitable. In fact, this is the first time I'm going even this deep with you on the charitable stuff that you guys do. But the United States car dealer is the one that is, sponsoring the baseball fields and the baseball teams and the high schools and giving back to the community. It's just an incredible thing, and it's awesome to watch. Um, Talk about a little bit. I want to go, like, you started very young, as you said. Would you talk a little bit about, I mean, and you rose pretty quickly, taking the reins of the two Honda stores and then move. What was your mentality like when you went in there? And obviously you had an incredible coach, John Williams, who is, he's another person that gives back. Surprise. We probably need to have John on here one time. I mean, it's just over and over and over again. But take us early on in those early days of Wesley Chapel Honda and Wesley Chapel Honda and Tampa Honda. Take me back when you started, how you really started getting cranked up. And again, for those of you, Patrick at the time, Abad, who a lot of you guys know, was at the Toyota store there. That was the sister store of those two stores. So ironic, these incredible humans came from the same coach, which is John Williams. So, but take us back early on and tell me, because you obviously didn't just poof, hey, I'm running both these stores. Take us there.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate. Actually, even before that, I started at Cox, great name, Cox Chevrolet, in a tremendous family who has done everything for the Bradenton community for over 100 years. The family business has literally been there for 100 years, which says everything unto itself, and was there for almost 7 years. And so that early experience in my 20s really shaped the early thought of what it means to be a part of the community and give back and live and really help and make it an organization that people want. And trust me, the folks in Bradenton know and appreciate and love the Cox organization over 100 years and all the things that they've done. So to your point, then in 2010, got the opportunity to work with John and David Williams at Wesley Chapel Honda. They really had already established their thought and train of how to run an organization and learned so many things that we try to emulate today, and they learned from Mr. Moran. And Mr. Moran, is probably one of the top 3 or 4 best car guys of all time, certainly on the Mount Rushmore in auto retail.
Amen. Yeah.
And so learning from them was a life changer and a game changer for all of us that, we inspire today. Whether it was giving back or whether it was giving back to your employees and what culture truly means, and, wanting to win, and production matters, but the way you win matters even more than just winning. And so I think that those early lessons, at Wesley Chapel Honda, which was first pour into your people and fix the culture and create this culture of winning and appreciation for your folks and recognition of all the hard work that they do, was just really special for me early on. And so we took that and then, as you mentioned, went into Tampa Honda and tried to do the same thing over and over again of creating culture and creating recognition and creating appreciation in that winning dynamic and production dynamic. So, those sort of things were instilled early on by, wonderful leaders and wonderful organizations. So I just really feel like I got lucky to grow up in those organizations, to be able to learn in that way at such a young age.
No, it was pretty evident when you've got the you and Patrick coming out of that, and now you're pouring into and Patrick's pouring into the Michael Lepic, who's his guy at the Toyota store and really training up that next generation, and you're pouring into people, and it's, again, we talked about the law of attraction, and then as important, once people say, hey, there's something going on here at We Auto, it's the law of duplication. It's pouring into people and being okay with it. I think a lot of times in this car business, and I kind of bump my head, or in any business, and I've said it multiple times, but I believe it. Pride and insecurity are the two, and they're probably the same thing, are the two biggest killers to any dealership and, quite frankly, any business, especially for someone either trying to climb that corporate ladder, somebody to make a name for themselves. It's quicker to maybe take shortcuts, to not worry about the person beside me stepping on, that type of mentality. And then when people get some sort of success, whether they're the top salesperson, top general manager, with market share, whatever, that there's comes something, there's like this struggle inside people's brains that now I'm the smartest person in the room. And they'll never say it out loud, but then they walk into the sales meetings or they walk into the boardrooms and maybe they let people speak, but they never change their mind. It's keeping that open mind. Those are the people that humble themselves, that say, hey, I'm not the smartest person in the room. And I want to learn more. And I want to learn. There's things that you can learn from your salespeople, from your receptionists, and having that kind of heart. I've seen it firsthand with you is, why do you think it's so difficult? And maybe this is a whole other level conversation. And by the way, we did not give each other lists of questions. We're just randomly, because this stuff's important to people. Why do you think so many people unfortunately miss that? There's a lot of incredible stores, your store, we have people on, but why do leaders miss that? Is it just the pride aspect, or why do you think that a lot of dealers are missing the boat, or companies for that matter?
What I would say to that is there certainly are some companies missing the boat per se on that sort of team we dynamic, but there are also a lot of car dealers getting that right. And there are so many organizations, and you could name a ton of them, who really do an awesome job of making it about everybody. Because at the end of the day, there is no one woman or one man who runs these bigger organizations. It truly takes a village. I mean, unequivocally, the folks who are in detail, the folks who are in advertising, the folks who are, running your finance departments, the sacrifices that everybody make for this common vision truly are the differentiator. And what I would say, to go back to your original question, going back to the way it worked for us, modeling it at a young age for us was just so important, in that instilling the culture early on that it takes everybody and we're all going to grow up together and we're all going to be successful together. If I were to guess, some of those individuals maybe just didn't have that model early on. And that's the only thing I can really think to of why, different approaches may happen. And again, going back to, I just feel really lucky and fortunate. The folks that I was able to learn and grow underneath taught me early how important every single person in our organization is. And we're all better together. We can't be successful without every single person on our team. And that exists, in all great organizations today, for sure.
You said something there, and I think it's spot on, and kind of a light bulb went off in my little brain. I mean, I really believe that. I really believe, um, I was brought up, not everybody. I had some great sales managers and some great dealer principals. Obviously, Don Moffitt, who was the vice president at SET back in the day, he was a hero of mine. It was there was something about those guys back in the day, man. They would come into the dealership and it was almost like there was a glow about them. I mean, they were like, oh my gosh, there's John Williams, there's Don Moffitt. But it was because even though they had these big titles with SET, they came into the room and they listened and they cared. And I can remember Don Moffitt literally rolling up his sleeve, and he owned the dealership and he was doing lot parties, and he was a big dude, and we used to work out together sometimes, and he'd arm wrestle technicians in the back. I mean, he was that guy, you know what I mean? And that type of mentality, like an us mentality. But I also, before I got to that dealership, I worked with, the guy, crunching my worksheet up and throwing it at my face and go get more money, and that that type of mentality. And you're right, I had to see it firsthand to figure out that this is, if I ever am given the opportunity, this is the way I want to run a store. This is the way I want to run an organization, with not being a pushover and singing Kumbaya every day, but creating a culture in which you have done, creating a culture that um, people obviously want to hit their numbers. They obviously want to hit their financial goals, but is such that if they do miss or come short sometimes, they feel bad and they come to you and say, boss, listen, it's not going to happen again. This is what's going on. These are the 4 things that we're going to do to get better next time. And I really think that's the key. You know, who's going to be that person, even if you did get brought up in this car business with the ladder, you know, the leadership on the other side that maybe didn't, you know, care as much, and maybe was yelling and throwing things and that kind of thing. You know, that just stuck with that. Be the one that makes the difference. Be the one that breaks the chain. Be the one when you get your opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many more people we're going to continue doing the podcast, but the theory is the same. Is come in, create culture. I see the reason I mentioned your we standards and your guiding principles. You have them there for everybody to see. I think it's no coincidence that ABAT has the same thing. A lot of people, that's something we're working on in our organization, you know, career growth. You know, sometimes people want to grow, and look, we've made many mistakes, but in your organization and others, it's right there. If you want to get here, this is what we stand for, and this is what you have to do. I think that at least I have fallen short of that in the past, and that's such incredible to see. You want to talk about that? I mean, how many other places are that in it? Is there a process that you go through? You talked about the classes that you give. Is that part of the classes that you pour into your people, that they know your mission statement, they know your brand, they know what they have to do if they're a 10-minute oil change tech, lube tech, to get to ASE certified tech? Like, is there a process within your store?
Yeah, so we this is where it would have been helpful if we'd have prepared some questions, because we actually have a really great orientation booklet that I would love to show you.
Sure, we'll have a part 2.
Okay, fantastic. But when we started coming up with what were our core values, what did we want our mission statement to be, we did use an outside third-party source kind of moderator over a few sessions that worked with our leadership team to kind of brainstorm and implement and think about what does it mean to be part of We Auto. And, our core values are essential. And we do talk about our core values at the beginning of all of our training classes. One of the first slides you see is our core values. Our core values are up in our training rooms, all of our training rooms. Our core values are up in our shops. Our core values are up in our accounting office. It's just one of those things that it's tough to be an employee for more than 60 minutes without seeing our core values. And why those are so important to us is because we all have to have the same vision. And in order to build that vision, we need to have those core values and where are we going. So even when we talk about, our We Care Awards, every year we do this really large celebration of employees. We rented out the big house. We rented out Comerica Park where the Tigers play. We're renting out the Henry Ford Museum. And it's just this award show to celebrate everybody, but we celebrate people in accordance with our core values. Those are the things we celebrate. We don't have, a top production. This salesperson sold the most amount of cars or created the most amount of gross. We have an award that's the Commitment to Caring Award. The type of things that we celebrate more than, just who turned the most amount of hours last year as a technician. Not that that's not important. Production matters. I don't want to diminish that. We absolutely focus on net to sales and net to gross and being the number one Toyota dealer in the state and being the number one Subaru dealer in the state and all those things. It matters for us. But the things that we celebrate and that we talk about and we really try to accentuate are our core values and our mission statement. And so we think it's fundamental to everything that we do.
That is, ladies and gentlemen, success leaves clues. That is, I've been taking notes. I've got a whole, these are such good ideas, even for our organization as we continue to try to get better. Commitment to caring. In fact, I don't know if the camera can see it. early on, every year we have an annual meeting and there's a different theme, and the team, they're much better now, but the team always thought it was funny to make a goofy emoji of myself. And the first one was go forth and crush early on, but right behind it was go forth and serve. Because I really believe when we have that servant mentality, it changes everything. I was just, I can't remember what I was, oh no, I was just on I was on another, somebody else's podcast that was trying to, we were talking about leadership. And I really think something that has helped me, and this isn't about me, but I want to help others. And we've shared a little bit about it today. I think it's mindset. I think there's so much noise going on when you watch the news and what's going on around the world. And are you red? Are you blue? Are you like all this stuff? And I really, something that has helped my little ADD 900 mile an hour typical car guy brain, even though I know you're much smarter than me. If you guys missed it, Mike was actual professor. Not only does he do 58 other things during the day and own 4 dealerships, and he's an incredible human. He is a professor at Michigan. But if we're really going to simplify it for me, and if I could just help you for a second, there's 2 things that I do on a daily basis that have really only been the last year that I've worded it this way in my brain, that hopefully will help you. When you talk about serving, when you talk about that mindset, and you talk about the commitment to carrying a word, I have a quiet time every day, every single morning when the first thing get up, no noise, no anything, and I give thanks for what I'm grateful for. But and I'm not talking about the company or even if, but once we realize as human beings, because at the end of the day, if your human beings that work for your organization are better human beings, you're going to have a better organization, period. And for my little brain, I do realize that there are millions of people with all the problems we have. You back row Baptists, lean in a little bit and listen up. No matter what problem you're going through, period. And I know it could be a lot, and I know it could be heavy. Sickness, divorce, drama, arguments. But listen, there are millions of people. This is what I realized in my brain. There are millions of people laying in hospital beds all over the world that are truly begging to have your problems. And when I start the day that way, when I start the day with a roof over my head and it goes back to Maxwell, the thing that I talk about all the time is just for today, because ladies and gentlemen, you have today to be the best leader, the best salesperson, the best daddy, the best mommy, the best significant other. We have today. When we start the day with, I understand gratitude, and I am thankful that I can even stand up on my own, that I can see. When we start that day, and then that just for today begins, just for today, allow me to treat more others as though they're more important than me. That means the people that we work around. That means the people, for me, the toughest part is going to work in the car when someone cuts me off, right? And then at the end of the day, so A, wake up with gratitude. Number 2, when the day is done, and there's no social media to post, and there's no podcast to be on, you dead in the mirror, look at yourself. The great philosopher, Michael, who is also named Michael Jackson, the great philosopher Michael Jackson once said, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. And when can you really ask yourself, A, start with gratitude, B, go to bed, and only you can answer this. Did I truly do everything that I could today? Did I make that extra phone call? Did I help my colleague when I should have? I should have done this. How did I do it? And we look at the game film, and then we're like, okay, these are the adjustments to the plays I need to make the next day. What happens? It continues to roll. So I want to encourage you, for us simple folk that aren't professors at Michigan, I would encourage all of you to start the day that way. Do we fail? Absolutely. Do we fall down? Absolutely. But you want to create an organization, you want to be an incredible human like Michael. I'm telling you right now, that is a great place to start, because we can pour into all the training, we can do, this and that. But at the end of the day, when the people that you work with are like-minded and thinking that way, hold the phone, it's on. So just a quick commercial. That's the only way that I can do it, because it seems like so much. You know what I mean? And dude, you're running 4 stores. It seems like so much, but when we literally water it down for today and treating people as though they're more important than yourself, I think it takes shape pretty quickly. What are your thoughts, Michael?
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to be inspired the way we are, Tim. I just can't wait to see, you on more podcasts and you out there, and appreciate you doing this for everybody. There's no doubt that there are common threads in great cultures and great leadership. We just work hard to try to be one of those every day. However, it is also a marathon, not a sprint, meaning
Amen.
that no matter what awards, our dealerships win or you win personally, there's always somebody better, and there's always somebody with a better culture and a better fit. And so that gives us all the inspiration we need to continue to work every single day to be 1% better tomorrow, and 1% better the day after that, and 1% the day after that. And so I just loved your message.
Well, I loved your message, brother. And we're going to have a part 2, because I believe we're at time. Try to keep around 30 minutes, because that's the average commute to and from the dealership, to and from your place of business. We hope that we've given you a little bit of hope today. Again, Michael, I'm going to, when we hang up here, I'm going to look at my calendar. I'm going to figure out when I can get up there, or maybe even Nashville, depending on when that's only 3.5 hours away from Atlanta. I'm landing the plane here, realizing that I need to surround myself with incredible humans like Mike Speigl. Thank you so much, brother, for your time on our podcast and taking the time, because it's not like you're not busy every day.
Yeah, Tim. I mean, you're out there. I hate to say this, but you're out there giving Buckeyes a good name. And so I'll leave you with this. 1903. Do you know what 1903 is, Tim?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
1903 are the number of days since the last time Ohio State beat Michigan. Go Blue, everybody. Appreciate the time, and look forward to ever doing a part 2. Thank you so much for having us on.
I love you so much, brother. I truly do. Ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing you the best of the best. We're bringing you the top 1% in automotive. That is no freaking joke. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day. Please hit that subscribe button no matter where you find your podcasts. Spotify is growing very, very quickly, among others. So listen, hopefully you know what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get a little better every single day. As we always say, listen, no one is smarter than everyone. Let's just continue to get better together. We'll see you next time.